Club Penguin was one of my favorite childhood games growing up, and as a 3D artist, I thought, why not create my very own penguin right in Blender 3D? In this series of very easy Blender tutorials, I'll be showing you how to create a penguin from scratch, to customize and render a simple penguin scene all in Blender 3D. This tutorial was intentionally made longer than most so that I can explain what I'm doing in a clear and concise manner. This tutorial is aimed at those who are just picking up Blender, but even if you have a bit more skill, there'll still be tips and tricks that you may not even know about. In this first part, we'll be modeling and coloring the entirety of our penguin, and the only prerequisite is to get a good reference image so that you have a good sense of what you're doing. So I believe that's all I need to say, so we can start with the tutorial. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is add in my reference image. It's just going to be the default light black penguin. And I'm going to position it firstly by pressing Alt-R to clear rotation, then pressing R, X 90, and then I'll bring it back by pressing G and Y. And I'll go into front view. Since I don't have a numpad, I'm using the key above the tab key, which brings up the selection, which I can navigate through the 3D viewport. So yeah, that's how I get around quickly. So we're going to be using this default cube to model the basic shape of our penguin, and to speed up our modeling process, we can add in a mirror modifier. So I'm going to tab into edit mode, press Ctrl R, and then I'll go into wireframe and press B for box select, and box select these left hand side vertices. And then we can delete them by pressing X and then delete vertices. I'm going to add in a mirror modifier, and I'll make sure clipping is enabled, because if we don't have clipping enabled, our thing can come apart. So once clipping is enabled, then we can move things about just like this. So I'm going to bring it down on the Z-axis, and then I'm going to box select this these top vertices here. And the reason I'm using box select is because if I go into solid view or even wireframe view and shift select these two vertices, as you can see, it doesn't always select the vertices I want. Like I want to select all of these four and not just the front two or the back two. So that's why we use box select. So anyway, we're going to be tracing out the basic shape of our penguin. Once we've got this top face selected, I'll press E, and I'll press S to scale in a bit, and then press E, and then SX. I'll press E to extrude again, SX, and then E once more to make the pointy part of the head, and I'm pressing S to scale that in. So if we go into solid view and rotate, as you can see, this isn't the ideal shape of our penguin, so we can kind of make amends by pressing 2 for edge select mode, and pressing Alt and right click on your desired edge loop, and then we can just scale out on the y-axis. So the penguin's kind of chubby, but not like overly round, because you know our penguins work out at the dojo, so we can just make slight adjustments. And then when it comes to the head, it does converge onto one point, but it's not like super sharp like a pair of scissors or something like that. So I think this is a pretty good basic shape of our penguin. And what we can do now is add in a subdivision surface modifier. This will make our penguin look smoother and more round. So we can add in our mirror modifier by going into the modifiers tab and subdivision surface, or in object mode we can press Ctrl and 3, which will add in a third level subdivision to our model. And we can adjust the levels of subdivisions by changing it here. So I'll go into front view, and as you can see, our shape is kind of being distorted by our subdivision surface modifier, but we can just rectify that by alt clicking this edge loop and then pressing G, and then we can move it out slightly. And then this bottom face here, just pulling it down here. And then I can add in a few more edge loops to kind of make the right shape of our penguin. So I'll put an edge loop here for right here, and then scale it in slightly. And we need to always be checking all our views to make sure it looks good. So I'll alt click this middle edge loop and press SY to scale it on the y-axis, but not too much. Yeah, I think this is fine. And then I'll keep making adjustments to the penguin. yeah, we can trace out our basic shape of the penguin, but it doesn't need to be exact. And in fact, if we try to replicate the exact shape, I don't think it will go as well. So it's good to have some intuition on how you want your penguin to look. So actually, I think the edge loops that I've added so far are fine. And what we can do is move on to kind of creating the arms. So to start making the arms, we're going to add in a few more edge loops. So I'm going to press Ctrl R and then scroll up on my mouse wheel until there's 3 of these yellow lines. So I'll do that now. And as you can see, it's kind of made the sides of our penguin quite flat. So I'll alt click this middle edge loop. Actually, no, I'll alt click this one and this one. Making sure you press Shift Alt click on the second one, and I'll press G twice, and this edge slides them inwards. So now from the top view, it's kind of got more of a rounded effect that we were going for. And in this middle one, I'll just press SY, and I'll kind of shape the, well, first of all, I'll be looking at different axes, seeing if everything's lining up properly. I think the head can come out a bit more. And then the stomach as well. And then I'll bring out this vertice by pressing GX. Just making sure everything looks fine in solid mode. So I'll select this one and press GX. Just slightly bringing it out, because I want to get the basic shape of our penguin before we start adding a few more details. Because although this isn't like a super complex model, we still want it to look, you know, quite good. Yeah, so I'm not exactly happy with the head shape, so I can just play around with it until it looks kind of the way I want. Okay. So I'll go into wireframe mode and add in another edge loop around here. And then this will be scaled in on the x-axis. And I'll press G to kind of freely move this part. Okay. To make our penguin more round, what we can do actually is alt-click this one and alt-click this one. And if your 3D cursor is still in the middle of the scene, and if not, you can press Shift-C and it will center it back to the world origin. We'll change the pivot point from global, no, I mean, wrong one. We'll change this thing, pivot point from medium point to 3D cursor. Then we'll go into top view and then press S, Shift-Z. And then this kind of makes our penguin more round. And then I'll scale everything on the x-axis. So now, yeah, now this is slightly better in terms of the shape of our penguin. Well, okay, yeah, this is slightly better. Okay, so now we can move on to creating the arms of our penguin. I'm sorry, I'm talking while I still want to make a few more adjustments. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, now we can move on to creating the arms of our penguin. So what I do is I go to front view, kind of see where the arms should line up. There should be an edge loop here. If not, you can just add one. And if you want to change back to medium point, you can press the full stop key right here. Okay, so to make the arms of our penguin, what we can do is go into face select by clicking up here or pressing 3. Not on the numpad, but just the regular 3 key. And I'll select these 4 faces here. Go into front view. Okay, maybe the arms are slightly so select these four faces here. Yep, and then press E. And then we can just click out here and then press G, and then we'll move them in because we'll extrude them once more and kind of make sure that they're on the same like line of axis, and then we can scale that in as well. Okay, so we've got the basic shape of our arms, and it just needs some editing. We can make sure that the fins aren't too sharp here, and make sure that the armpit doesn't look too noticeable. So the first one I'm going to do is press W in object mode and click Shade Smooth. and that already looks slightly better. And now I'll just make a few more adjustments. So I'll alt click this edge lip here, pressing G twice, kind of slide it up here. Because as you can see, this shoulder kind of peaks quite close towards the neck. And then I can select these two vertices, or I mean these two edges, and bring them up. Because it kind of looks like our penguin has a kind of a permanent shrug. But first let me bring this one out here. And this one kind of upwards. Oops. Maybe I should scale the arm down slightly as well. Apologies if you can hear the mouse clicking a lot. I'll try to remove some of them in post. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the armpits. If you ever want to kind of temporarily disable the subdivision surface modifier for editing, we can click this button here. And then now I can have a better look of our topology. So I'm just pressing G twice on the armpit, seeing how that looks. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. And now for the arms that I don't want to be too sharp. So select these two here by pressing Alt click and Shift Alt click. Press G twice, do that, and then here and here, G twice. So yeah, if we go into edit mode, it kind of looks like this. I don't want it to look too dramatic though, but yeah, if you followed along, then and you've got this, then you know that's perfectly fine. If you've watched any of my other tutorials, you probably know that I can be a perfectionist at times when it comes to these models. Okay, almost there with the arms. I think they look quite fine already, but you know, I just like making sure everything is to my standard. We'll select this vertice alone, this one right here, because we want the bottom of the arm to kind of come out or come downwards. And I'll press G twice here, because I think pressing G twice is always better than just manually grabbing it. So if you have the chance to edge slide, then definitely do it. Okay. And I think this is a good time to save your project, so if you haven't already, go for it. So I'm going to do it right now. Okay, one thing I want to do is actually scale out these arms, because I feel like when they're really sharp and pointy, it kind of looks threatening, like they could hurt someone. So, you know, let's scale them out quite a bit. And then I think, yeah, they look a bit more friendly. I'll scale them on the y-axis as well, because they're quite thin, but again, not too sharp. So, yeah, I think almost done with the arms. You could probably be ahead of me right now, but okay, yeah, I'm happy with the way the arms are. Okay, now I'm happy with the way the arms are. So we can move on to making the feet of the penguin. This is quite easy, so we'll just start by pressing Shift A, add in a cube. I'll bring it down here, and then we can add in a mirror modifier. And then we can set the mirror object to the penguin. So I'll just use the eyedropper tool. And as you can see, we can move it around in object mode. So let me scale it down. Go into this view right here. Okay, this tummy's actually annoying me. Excuse me. Let me just select everything here, scale it in, bring it up. Maybe go into face select, because that tummy is a bit too much. Okay. Apologies. So, okay, yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, let me pull my screencast keys. Okay, to make the feet, we can just position it around here. Go into edit mode, press 1 for vertice select, and then I'll go to wireframe. Press B for box select, and press G, Y, and bring it forward. And we'll go into front view, box select these sides, and then bring it on the x-axis. go into solid view, see how they look. I think they look quite high, so I'll scale them down on the z-axis. And then again, we can position it correctly. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is go into edit mode, put in an edge loop around here, and then bring up the back of the foot, because it kind of looks like their feet curve upwards. And then I'll press Ctrl R to add in an edge loop. Let's see, I can bring this foot back just a bit. So press GG. I'll do that, bring it back, and then I'll press RZ, and then kind of rotate the feet outwards. And then scale it down on the Z-axis a little bit more. So what we can do now is add in another modifier. This will be the bevel modifier right here. And as you can see, it kind of adds more subdivisions for our model. And this is a lot better than manually pressing Ctrl B in edit mode, because if we want to make changes, then kind of having all of those vertices will create such a headache. But if we have this modifier right here, we can always disable it if we want later on. So using modifiers is quite helpful. So you can change the segments. I think 4 or 5 is quite good. And then using the amounts, this will change the amount. I guess I don't know what to say, but I'll turn this up slightly. You know, to wherever. Oops. Whatever I think looks good. I think that looks good. And then we can press W, shade smooth. And yeah, I think the feet are okay. They're quite simple. Maybe I'll press G, Shift Z, and then bring them outwards around here. I think the issue with this is that I should bring out the foot, this part of the foot. So I'll press G, Shift Z, and pressing Shift Z, make sure that I move it on everything except the Z-axis. And I'll probably do it for this side, just a tiny bit. So yeah, I think the feet look good. And now we can move on to creating the beak. So what we can do is go into wireframe mode, see where the beak should be, and press Shift A. Add in a cube, bring it up on the Z-axis. And then what do you think we're going to be doing? If you said add in a mirror modifier, then you are correct. So we'll press Tab for edit mode, press Ctrl R, go into wireframe, well, we already are, and then press B for box select, and then delete vertices. Okay, so we can scale, and yeah, make sure clipping is enabled. We can scale everything down and kind of position it where we want. So if you're quite observant, then you probably realize that the penguin isn't symmetrical in terms of the eyes and the beak. However, we're going to make our model symmetrical, and I think it will look quite good regardless. So making sure that we're using box select once more, I'll kind of trace out the basic shape like we did earlier. My screencast keys aren't on. Apologies. Okay. I'm not sure if the screencast keys are even helpful. I mean, I hope they are, but I'll keep them on regardless. Okay, so select this side, press E, S, Z, and position it here. Box select this side here, bring it down, and I'll go into solid view, and we can't even see where it is. So press GY, bring it out. That looks awful, but we can make some adjustments. It's not done. All right. And you know what? I'll press Ctrl R and add in an edge loop around here. Bring it down a bit. And I'll go into edge select, go into solid mode, and press GY. Bring it out on the Y axis. And maybe another edge loop here. GY, so you know it has more of a beak shape. And I think what we should do now is add in another subdivision surface modifier. So using the shortcut I did earlier, I'm going to press Ctrl 3 adds in a third level subdivision, and this gives us a better kind of idea of what our final shape is going to look like. So I'll press G twice to bring this part down. And if we go into top view, the beak is quite flat right here, and it shouldn't be, it should be pointy. So I'll select this, this edge here, bring it forwards, and same with this one here. And if you didn't know already, I'm swapping between vertice, edge, and face by pressing 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, those are quick and easy to use. So I can go into wireframe again for modeling, box select, and move. Okay, so we'll move on to this part of the beak, which is kind of just the side pieces. So I will box select this side and press E. Okay, something looks, yeah, okay, that didn't look right. Okay, not these ones here. Go into front view once more, wireframe, E, scale, and go into solid mode. Okay. And you know what, I think I will bring out these, whoops, I'll bring out this face here. So push G, X, and there's kind of a dip in the beak, like quite a drastic one here. So I'll select this vertice, or edge even, bring it down, maybe everything, and scale it in just slightly. Go into right view, and then we can bring it back as well to kind of accentuate the crease of the penguin without actually making it an actual crease. Okay. And if I go into solid mode, I think that's almost perfect. Well, it's not amazing, but I think it's good enough. So I'll press shade smooth, and a few more adjustments, then we can move on to the eyes, and yay, we finished part 1 at least. The beak, I would say, has a bit of an overhang, so I'll kind of make sure that's somewhat noticeable. Go into front view, check again, maybe bring this part down a little bit more. Actually, no. I'll make sure that we're selecting the whole edge, bring it down. Then if we want, we can bring this part up. Is that fine? Okay. I mean, to be honest, if I'm really unhappy, I can always change it slightly later, but I don't think I will. I think this is decent. I'll get rid of that part. Okay. And we always want to have a nice curvature of the beak. Okay, so I think the beak is looking quite good. Okay, so the final part we're going to be doing is the eyes. So I'll press Shift C, add in the plane this time, press RX90, and we'll bring it up around here. Okay, maybe I should scale out the beak, because apparently this one. So I'll scale the plane kind of to around here. And I'll tab into edit mode. And if you've been following along, then you probably know what's going to happen. I'll actually delete the face this time, keep you on your toes. So X, delete faces, and then add in the mirror modifier. No, not this. Add in the mirror modifier, enable clipping. And then we're going to make the eye symmetrical, unlike this one, but it's fine. Scale this down here, kind of bring it around here. Add in an edge loop by pressing Ctrl R. We'll scale it up. And for the eyes, I kind of want it to dip in the middle. So I'll press GZ, bring it down. Add in one more edge loop. And then GZ and bring it up. And let's bring this part out. So this kind of looks like a superhero mask, the one in Incredibles or something like that. Anyway, so I think that's a good shape for the penguin, but we can make it even better by adding in another subdivision surface modifier. So I've pressed Ctrl 3, and already that's looking quite good. I'll go into edit mode. Make a few more adjustments. And yeah, the eyes are quite important because we can definitely change the expression of our penguin by changing the shape of the eyes. So I kind of want to get this right, even though this isn't too hard, so yeah. It kind of curves towards more the bottom. It's asymmetrical when it comes to top and bottom. If we bring this down, it can look like kind of evil, but yeah, our penguin is friendly. Unless you were one of those bullies on Club Penguin, then I've got nothing for you. Get off my tutorial right now. Okay, I'm just playing around with this. It doesn't need to be this complicated. I can always change that later. And another modifier we're going to add is a solidify modifier. And what I'm going to do is kind of hide these parts and put the solidify modifier above the subdivision surface modifier. And then we can change the thickness. And I think I prefer this effect to the one where it's just like thick and flat, as you can see here. So solidify above subdivision surface. And then one more thing I'm going to add is a shrink wrap modifier. If I can find it, it's right here. And then we'll set the target to our penguin and set the offset to slightly higher. But make sure your shrink wrap modifier is above everything else, well, except for the mirror modifier. In that case, I don't think it matters too much. And then I can change the offsets so that is kind of on top of our penguin. And then I'll press W for shade smooth. Okay, that's looking a lot better. The final part we can do is add in our eyes. So this is going to be quite simple. I'm going to press Shift A and then the circle, go into wireframe and then press RX90. I'll bring it up here, scale it down. And I feel like I don't even need to tell you what to do next. Okay, and I'll bring it out here. And I don't mind if the eyes are floating above the penguin's face. I think that kind of goes for a cool stylized effect anyway. But I'll scale the eyes down. And yeah, the eyes are quite important. So I'll scale them on the x-axis to make them flatter. And then going into wireframe view, maybe just kind of, since the beak and the main eyes aren't lined up perfectly, we kind of have to eyeball how it will look. So checking all your axes, we'll just keep adjusting until we're happy. Okay, yeah, I think that looks good. So even though I said this is the final part of the penguin, I feel like it'll be quite cool to color it anyway, and this won't take long at all. So first I'm going to click on the main body of our penguin, go into materials, and I'll call this main or body main. And then this is the fun part where you can kind of choose whatever color you want for your penguin. Since my original penguin was blue, I'll choose the dark blue color. But of course you can do whatever you like. And by default, you can't see the materials added to your penguin. So you have to go into material preview. And then I don't like this shiny effect that we've got going on here. So I'll turn the roughness all the way up. And I like this matte kind of finish on our penguin. So I'll add the color for the feet. And I'll just call it feet and beak. Because, yeah, it's the feet and beak. Same color, so why not? And again, I'll turn the roughness all the way up. It's kind of this orange, like quite orange color. And I'll assign the same material to the feet, or I mean the beak. With the eyes, it's just a plain white. I'll do eyes 1, I guess. And we can turn the roughness down to a point, maybe 0.3. And then for the eyes, eyes, are they called pupils? I always forget. Whatever. I'll turn it black. Oh, okay. Yeah, the reason why we can't see the eyes of our penguin is because there's no shape. So we can tab into edit mode, press F, and there we go. We've got our eyes. And you know, our penguin has a bit of a glimmer in its eyes. So I can press 3 for face select and press I to end set it. And then I'll just give the color eyes 1. And then we can scale this down, maybe bring it up as well. But if we kind of move it out towards the other side, it looks a little bit weird. So yeah, I'll leave it like this. And then I'll enable shade smooth as well. So yeah, the penguins are missing one main feature, which is its white belly. So what we can do is kind of cheat this by going into edit mode, whoops, on our main penguin. And this is where double tapping G comes in very handy. So what we're going to do is kind of align our vertices at the front to make this shape here. And then we'll assign a new color. So I'll press G twice. And G twice. And we'll assign a new color. We'll call it body secondary or whatever. If you're lazy, then don't call it anything. Doesn't bother me. And then I'll assign all of these colors to the body, going back into material preview. It looks okay, but the belly white color should kind of tuck underneath the beak. So I'll select this vertex right here. And this one as well. Whoops. It's kind of hard to do this in wireframe mode. Again, pressing G twice. And G twice, tuck underneath the beak. G twice and pull it along. Because yeah, when you're pressing G, just regular G and GX, it might do something like that. You know, that's not good. So you're definitely going to want to press G twice in these situations. So I'll press G twice. Doesn't always go the way you want, and sometimes you can kind of cheat and press G once, but it's not really advised. You know what? I'll press G twice, bring all of this part up. Our boy's looking kind of skinny, but it's fine. And then I'll give him this part. And then now we can have a few more vertices to play with. So if we go into material preview, it's close, but our thing still isn't tucked underneath. So let's make sure that this is a sign. One thing I can do actually is hide the beak, because that's getting in the way now. It looks quite silly now, but press G twice and bring this in quite a bit, maybe. Go into object mode, press Alt H. You know what, I'll just grab and move the vertices. I broke my own rule, I'm sorry. I failed you all, but I'm getting impatient. So let me just manually move the vertice. And I think that looks great. Yeah, it looks fine, even though we cheated a little bit. Our boy is shining. Make sure to save it now. Okay, so our model of our Club Penguin character is complete. In the next part, I'll be focusing on accessories and clothing and, different things for our penguin to dress it up. I think that part is going to be the most fun because, we can have a lot more customization. But if you followed along, a big thank you to you. I hope this tutorial wasn't too long, too quick, or, too confusing for you. And if it was, leave a comment or something like that in the comment section below. But thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.